leaking when you're not home, I have a way for you to prevent that. It's from the FloodStop by IPS. This mounts on the top of the water heater, right behind the valve, and it's an electronic valve, and it also has a sensor that when it senses water down at the bottom of the water heater or in the pan, it'll automatically shut it down and stopping the leakage of water. I'm going to go ahead and install the system. I'll show you how simple it is. This is the sensor panel. This goes at the base of the water heater in the pan or just on the floor. That will connect via the wire system up to the control panel. And then once the water is detected, or if you want to do a self-diagnosis or a testing, you can hit a button and that will control the 3/4 ball valve to shut off. So this unit is AC driven, so it does plug into an outlet, and it's very simple to install. You may have to do a little soldering, but I'll show you exactly how to do it. Okay, so up here we have the valve on the cold side of the water heater that's coming in. We'll go ahead and just shut that off. And once we do that, I'll make sure that the power is cut off to the water heater as well. Once that's done, we're going to disconnect this supply line that's on the water heater and install the FloodStop system and then a new supply line that'll go to the FloodStop. Okay, I've got roughly about 2 gallons of water drained out of the water heater. That'll bring the water level in the water heater down so I don't have to worry about having any water standing or flowing over. So I'm going to go ahead and get the supply line disconnected and start prepping for the FloodStop. Okay, now that I got this disconnected, I'm going to just roll this up. And I'm going to drain the water out of this so I can remove the solder, remove it from the line. Okay, now that the copper is prepped up, I'm going to go ahead and get my 3/4 male adapter. So I've got the fitting soldered on, it's cooled down. I'm going to go ahead and thread tape that and get that prepped up for the solenoid valve. I use Blue Monster thread tape. I've used this for probably, I think, 15 years or so. And it's very good tape. It's thicker than most of the other Teflon tapes. And just does a very nice job. You have to have a minimum of 3 wraps on that, so I usually go about 5. Okay, once that's on, you just wring that until it turns a darker blue, just like this. Then I put a little bit of a paste on that just to lubricate the fitting so it slides in well. You're not gooping it up, you're just putting it on as a lubricant. And for that, I use thread lock, and I've been using that for a long time as well. Okay, I'm gonna just put that on just lightly. Okay, so now we're going to take our solenoid valve and we're just going to thread that on. And you want to make sure that your valve lever is not going to interfere with the valve if you need to shut off everything completely and you don't want to use the electronic valve and you want to use the lever valve. You want to make sure these two don't interfere when the lever comes down. So we'll just go ahead and get this on and get it into a spot. That's not going to be a problem. Okay, and I'm going to bring that around till it's standing straight up. Get the little cap put back on. There we go. Okay. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and put my supply line back on, and I'll turn the water on and check for leaks. Okay, now that I've got that in place, I'm going to go ahead and ease the water back on and make sure I don't have any leaks between any of the fittings or the solder joint. And all is well. So we're going to go ahead and mount the control panel. They have actually a sticky pad on the back that you can Velcro it to the water heater. You can also mount them to the wall, but I'm going to use this option. So I'll just go ahead and get that peeled off. I'm going to go ahead and set the unit right here. Make sure it's nice and square, just like that. Okay, so that's mounted. Now we're going to go ahead and connect all the wiring. So we've got the wire harness for the unit itself. You're going to have a longer one that has a white and a black stripe white. That'll go to the sensor, and then you'll have the one that goes up to the valve itself. All right, so now the only thing we need to do is get it plugged in. Okay, so now it's opening the valve to the water heater, and that's done. I'm going to go ahead and run a little bit of water, get some air out of it. I'll go ahead and dress the wire up once I'm done. But you can go ahead at any time, you can hit close. That'll close off the valve and then open. That opens the valve through the solenoid. And then as far as if you ever get water on the sensor that's down in the pan or on the ground by the water heater, I'm just going to show you real quick. That just closed the valve and gave an audible alarm. So you can see it's red right now, and that's saying that everything is closed up because there's a leak going on. So right now, if you had a flood or anything going on with water going at, everything would be shut down. So we know that everything's good. I'll go ahead and mute. And I'm going to open the valve back up. So now we're back into operation. If you have a valve that's hard to reach, and a lot of them are, you have to crawl up on a stand and then crawl up behind, you may also want to consider this system just for the ease of shutting off the hot water. You just go up and shut it off, and that's it. Then turn it back on. So that's another benefit to it. It makes it a lot easier to turn off and on the water. All right, so there you have it. It's all installed. I put a lot of these units in, and I really like them. Customers like them. They just give them a peace of mind that if something goes bad, it's going to be okay. So if you like the video, give us a thumbs up, and we will have the link down below. And thanks for watching DIY on the House.